In the remote wilderness of Maine, 3 enigmatic women ran what appeared to be a religious sanctuary. For over 30 years, 600 women entered its stone gates seeking spiritual healing. Less than half ever returned. Those who did come back were different. Buried deep in the Maine State Archives is the chilling testimony of a lone survivor, so disturbing that authorities locked it away for over a century. Tonight, we finally uncover what really happened behind the walls of the Convent of Eternal Tears. This story isn't for the faint of heart. It's for those brave enough to dig into the dark, forgotten chapters of America's past. If you think you can handle the truth, then stay with us. What makes this tale truly horrifying is not religious fanaticism or supernatural curses, but something far more disturbing: a calculated pursuit of forbidden knowledge, wrapped in the comforting guise of Christian charity. Back in the late 18th century, the District of Maine was still part of Massachusetts. It was a cold, unforgiving place where survival was uncertain and isolation was the norm. In the town of Millbridge, a small coastal outpost with barely 300 residents, lumber merchants and fishermen struggled against both nature and hardship. 15 miles inland, a hidden parcel of forest land would soon earn an unspeakable reputation. On a bleak October morning in 1798, 3 women arrived, riding in a heavy wagon loaded with crates, tools, and medical supplies. They drew stares from the townsfolk. The leader, Mother Superior Agatha Ashford, stepped down with the grace and authority of European nobility. Her hair streaked with silver, her steel-gray eyes seemed to scan and assess every soul they met. Sister Prudence Ashford, tall and bone-pale, followed. Her hands moved with the precision of a master surgeon. She rarely spoke, but when she did, her cold, calculated voice left even hardened men uneasy. The youngest, Temperance Ashford, was breathtaking. Raven hair, porcelain skin, eyes like midnight, but her beauty was unnerving. Her smile never reached her eyes, and her gaze studied people like insects pinned to a board. The women claimed to be Anglican nuns fleeing persecution in England. They presented glowing letters of recommendation from high clergy, which were later proven to be elaborate forgery. They purchased 200 acres of forest from a widow at 3 times the land's value, buying silence and cooperation from local authorities. Then construction began. Over 8 months, an enormous stone structure rose from the forest floor. Its 3 stories were built from gray coastal rock with thick walls and narrow high windows, a fortress masquerading as a convent. The basement was the most peculiar part. Extensive excavation, reinforced stonework, drainage systems, and strange ventilation shafts suggested this was no mere storage area. When questioned, Mother Agatha would smile serenely. True penitence requires solitude, and solitude requires containment. Their obsession with reinforced doors, liquid drainage, and airtight chambers unsettled the builders, but the sisters brushed off concerns, claiming these features were common in European institutions of deep spiritual healing. Entered Dr. Samuel Hartwell, a frontier physician known for progressive ideas. He became an early supporter of the convent. The sisters' knowledge of hysteria and melancholia amazed him. They are decades ahead of their time, he wrote. They understand the roots of mental disturbance, not just the symptoms. What he didn't write in his journal was the private deal he struck. For every referral and medical supply provided, he'd receive payment and access to case studies that could elevate his status. Word spread. Families from Portland, Boston, even Charleston sent their troubled women to the convent. Daughters too headstrong, wives too emotional, sisters too educated. $20 for a month, $50 for 3. $100 for full reformation. Families eager to erase scandal or shame paid gladly. Defiance was the unifying trait. Whether political, intellectual, or marital, any deviation from accepted femininity warranted treatment. The first real sign that something was wrong came in winter 1803. Thomas Brewster, a young trapper, was tracking a wounded deer when he heard screams from the convent. These weren't animal cries. They were human, agonizing, primal, and echoing through the forest. Thomas approached cautiously. Peering through a snow-covered basement window, he saw a nightmare. A woman strapped to a wooden table, her head shaved and locked in place. A metal rod gleamed in Sister Prudence's hand. There was an opening in the woman's skull. Thomas could see brain tissue. Her screams rose until she passed out. The sisters never flinched. Agatha calmly took notes. Temperance handed tools like a seasoned surgical assistant. This was no first-time procedure. Thomas ran through the snow in a panic, babbling to his father. The elder Brewster was skeptical, urging calm. People imagine things in blizzards, he warned. But Thomas described it all with disturbing precision. Tools, techniques, the surgical efficiency. It couldn't be dismissed as hysteria. They approached Deacon Morrison, the town's moral compass. A cautious man, he agreed to visit the convent discreetly. Agatha welcomed him in a parlor adorned with religious icons. When asked about the screams, she spoke gently of intense night prayers and demons being cast out. Spiritual cleansing, she called it. Sometimes the corrupted soul fights back. She showed Morrison the upper floors, silent dormitories, serene women in prayer. But something felt wrong, too quiet, too synchronized. When he asked to see the basement, Agatha declined. Such intimate procedures would shame our residents in a man's presence, she said. He left troubled. The residents moved like puppets, their blank eyes, the faint metallic smell. He couldn't shake it. The screams stopped. In their place came silence. A silence even more terrifying. More women arrived, fewer returned. Mary Prescott came back after 6 months. Once lively and rebellious, she was now blank, obedient, unrecognizable. She remembered nothing, not her childhood, not her favorite foods, only that she had prayed hard to be good. Scars marked her scalp. Her mother's questions were met with vacant smiles. Dr. Hartwell called it a success. Another woman, Hannah Morse, forgot she ever had a baby. Elizabeth Thornton accused her husband of abuse, then returned home swearing he was perfect. Each bore scalp scars. Each remembered nothing. Hartwell descended into madness. He drank, ranted, wrote about medical revolutions and necessary sacrifices. His journal confessed the unspeakable. They can alter memory, suppress behavior, modify souls through surgery. Their records are flawless, their methods reproducible. European universities began corresponding, packages of surgical tools arrived, specimens left, monthly trips to Boston became routine. Martha Goodwin investigated, her daughter Rebecca came back hollow. Martha found other mothers whose daughters never returned. The sisters claimed they had become permanent residents, now silent nuns devoted to God, no visitors allowed. Fees rose to $500, 0 cents for complete reformation. Wealthy families across the East Coast joined the line. The Convent of Eternal Tears had become a factory, not of salvation, but of silence. And none who entered truly came back the same.